Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unraveling one of the most puzzling mysteries of our time, the epidemic of modern isolation. We're going to explore this through a fascinating conversation of ideas, drawing on some truly incredible insights from thinkers like Robert Putnam, Sherry Turkle, Priya Parker, and Kasley Killam. Think about it. We literally have more freedom, convenience, and mobility than any generation in human history. And yet, we are facing a profound crisis of connection. So why is that? Let's find out together.
Okay, let's dive right into this. It's the glaring paradox of our era, isn't it? If you've ever looked at your phone at the end of a busy day, realized you've messaged a dozen people, answered a ton of emails, hopped on video calls all day, and yet you still feel strangely untouched and alone? Well, your feelings are entirely valid. You are not broken. You are simply reacting to a fundamental shift in how human beings actually interact.
You see, we use the word connection for way too many different things. Today, digital connection has become abundant, frictionless, and highly curated. We edit our messages, we pick our best angles, and we can leave a conversation without even having to physically stand up. Human closeness, on the other hand, is demanding. It's reciprocal, inconvenient, and just wonderfully messy. Over time, we've basically engineered the friction out of our lives, but in doing so, we accidentally filtered out the messy, human closeness we actually crave.
Section 1. Losing each other slowly, the death of inconvenience.
As political scientist Robert Putnam points out, social decline doesn't just happen all at once. It's not a sudden catastrophe. It happens in these tiny, unnoticeable increments. Year 1, a local store closes down. Year 5, a neighbor moves away, and the new one never introduces themselves. Year 10, you start getting your groceries delivered straight to your door. Year 15, you pull into your driveway, hit a button, and the garage door shuts behind you before you even step outside. It was millions of these perfectly reasonable, tiny decisions that slowly dismantled our local communities.
So the crucial point here is that we need to start looking at this through the lens of what Kasley Killam calls social health. And this isn't about just tallying up how many friends you have. It's about asking, are your relationships giving you the right amount and quality of connection that you actually need to thrive? If you are feeling lonely, it's very often not a personal failure at all. It is a completely normal reaction to a severely impoverished social environment.
A massive part of this environmental shift is what we could call the death of inconvenience. Think about your day-to-day. You don't ask a local for directions anymore, right? An app just tells you. You don't go out to the theater, you just stream it. Remote work replaces the physical office. We efficiently remove the mundane inconveniences of life, but here is the catch. Those little inefficiencies were actually the tiny, uncurated openings where meaningful human connection occasionally sparked.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core issue, perfectly summarized by psychologist Sherry Turkle. She says, convenience has a social price that rarely appears on the receipt. We just wanted to remove the waiting in lines. We just wanted to make our days a bit more efficient, but we accidentally removed the people.
Section 2. The illusion of closeness. Connected to everyone, close to so few.
We have got to separate access from attachment. Technology gives us instant, controlled, completely replaceable access to billions of people. But access isn't obligation. Physical attachment is reciprocal, it's demanding, and it is highly consequential. Look, if you disappear from someone's social media feed, the feed just keeps moving. But if you disappear from someone's dinner table, there is an empty chair left behind. Your absence actually registers. Digital life often strips away the physical presence that makes us truly accountable to one another.
Author Priya Parker points out something fascinating here. She notes that highly curated digital interactions completely compress and eliminate what she calls inefficient time. You know, intimacy doesn't usually happen during the officially scheduled 2 p.m. video call. It happens in the 15 minutes after the meeting ends. It happens on the shared walk to the parking lot, or playfully arguing over who washes the dishes after a meal. Intimacy happens when nothing is scheduled to happen.
We keep searching for these profound, deep connections, but we forget a really simple rule. Meaningful connection often grows directly out of meaningless connection. This is exactly why even seamless AI companionship, which is admittedly great at providing risk-free attention, ultimately falls short. It removes the friction and the reciprocal needs that actually train us for real human life. A machine doesn't demand anything from you, but healthy relationships absolutely require something from us.
I want you to take a moment right now and genuinely ask yourself this profound question from Robert Putnam. If technology vanished tomorrow, who would still knock on your door? Who actually knows your ordinary routines? Who would notice that your curtains haven't opened in 3 days? That is the ultimate test of whether your social network can actually bear the weight of real-life emergencies.
Let's move to Section 3, our lost social architecture. Did we lose more than friendship?
Priya Parker calls this our social architecture. These are the invisible structures, neighborhoods, weekly family dinners, civic clubs, religious institutions that repeatedly put the exact same people together. When these structures vanish, an exhausting burden shifts entirely onto you. Suddenly, you have to initiate every call, arrange every dinner, and artificially construct every single human encounter entirely from scratch.
Putnam breaks this down into social capital. On one side, we have bonding capital, which is our close ties with people who are just like us. But we also desperately need bridging capital, those weak ties with people across different occupations, classes, and beliefs. Modern, curated life is incredibly efficient at destroying our bridging capital. It removes the spaces where we are forced to peacefully negotiate and coexist with people we didn't actively choose.
Kasley Killam highlights a massive cultural shift here. We've moved from inherited belonging to a constructed identity. Historically, you just inherited belonging at birth, a neighborhood, a community, a set of seasonal traditions. Today, modern life gives us the unprecedented freedom to choose exactly who we want to be. But that freedom comes with a very heavy social burden. We now have to constantly build and maintain our belonging entirely by ourselves, leading to a profound and quiet social exhaustion.
And this is exactly why rituals are absolutely crucial. Rituals answer the question, when are we gathering, before it even has to be asked. Without regular, recurring rituals, whether that's a Sunday dinner or a Thursday bowling league, we lose the vital spaces where we learn how to host, how to mourn, and most importantly, how to repair relationships after a disagreement, simply because we know we have to see those same people again next week.
Section 4. Where do we go now? The search for new belonging. We must acknowledge that the past had massive flaws, like forced conformity, so our goal isn't to just go backward. But we have to ask ourselves, did we lose more than just friendship?
What happens when our social architecture vanishes entirely? We are literally standing on the edge of that structural crisis right now, and it requires conscious, deliberate rebuilding.
We've really only scratched the surface in this explainer by covering the first 3 topics of this crisis. To read the rest, you can visit imaginarytalks.com/social health, modern life, loneliness. There you'll find the complete breakdown, including sections 4 and 5, exploring exactly how we rebuild and belong again. Thank you so much for joining me today, and remember, someone has to go first and send the invitation. Make it you.